It is here at last. It's the RGB... I can't even remember what it's called now. It is here at last. This just arrived today. It's the RGB20SX from POWKIDDY. They made one of my favorite consoles of the last 12 months, which is the RGB30. This is essentially the same thing. It's got a huge square screen, but this time the controls have been moved down to the bottom to give it more of a sort of an OG Game Boy form factor, and I really like it. It comes in some really cool clear colors. You can get like a clear and a clear blue, but I had to go with the yellow, and I wasn't sure if that was the right choice, but now it's in hand. Oh, it's so nice. Anyway, I've got loads of things I want to do with this. I'll probably be doing more videos on it, but in the meantime, I wanted to just do a quick unboxing, show you my first impressions, and see if there's anything you want me to try out with this thing, because I'll probably be spending quite a bit of time with it. Okay, it is finally here, the POWKIDDY RGB20SX. So this is something I've been waiting on for a while. In fact, I've had it on pre-order direct from POWKIDDY, and the tracking information they sent me, I couldn't get it to work, so it's been a complete mystery as to when it was going to turn up. So when I got home today and it was waiting for me, I was very excited. I have not had a look at it properly yet, so let's take off the lid. There's actually nothing on the bottom of the box there. By turning it upside down, I may have caused a few issues. Let's see. So here it is, the RGB20SX. Now, if you remember, I was a huge fan of this thing here, the RGB30, also made by POWKIDDY, and this is essentially the same thing, but it's had all the controls pulled down to the bottom and giving it a more kind of traditional Game Boy portrait orientation, which, you know, I was raised on the original Game Boy Color and so on, so I'm a huge fan of this setup. Also, I like making a lot of music with LSDJ, which definitely needs the start and select buttons in close proximity to the D-pad and the other buttons, so I'm looking forward to trying that out too. But generally, I mean, it's so cute. It's got the little smiley face and everything else, and I loved this console. This is like one of my favorite things I've bought in the last 12 months. I've played on it loads. It's just fantastic with that 1-to-1 ratio. It's perfect for emulating your classic Game Boy games, and this now is even in the Game Boy kind of format. So I'll shut up and we'll just take a look. So I'm planning on doing a few videos about this thing, and I haven't got a huge amount of time to really delve into it, but yeah, it's just come today and I wanted to take a look, and I'm sure there's plenty of you would want to take a look. It's kind of difficult to get it out of this packaging actually, so it's very securely held in there. There we go. So just a little vacuum formed tray in there. The rest of it is very sustainable, so props for that. So it okay, it comes in a really cool kind of clear plastic with a little light inside, and it also comes with in a sort of clear blue plastic. But when I got the RGB30, they brought out a yellow edition later on, and I was a little bit miffed that I missed out on that one. So when I saw this one announced in yellow, I had to go for the yellow one, and I wasn't sure whether I regretted that choice, but getting it out of the box and looking at this shade of yellow, it is very nice. It's very Nintendo. It's got these kind of curved shoulder buttons on the back, which as I was showing it to the camera there and feeling it, like, your fingers just kind of drop in the right position straight away really easily. Your thumbs fit immediately. They just fall in the right position to the D-pad and the ABXY. I'm not sure what these will be like to work with, but to be honest, like, I rarely use the analog sticks on this one anyway. So it's nice to have them as an option, but primarily I'll be using it for Game Boy games, and the D-pad input is most important there. Big difference this time, although it's essentially the same console with a different layout. Last time when I got the RGB30, I went for the one that didn't come with any of the SD cards and opted to kind of build up my own game library and all the rest. And when it arrived and I was all super excited about getting it, I couldn't play any games. I had to sit and start putting things on an SD card and trying to format things and all that. And I wanted to just play. So this time I've taken a different tack. Rather than customize it myself, I've gone completely stock, and I also maxed out the options. So there is a slot for the SD card on the left and the right this time. The one on the right is for the operating system. And if you just push, and that'll ping out, it is a 16 gigabyte card in there. And then on the other side, we've got the games. And as I say, I went for the biggest option this time, which cost me, I don't know, I think it was about an extra £20. And it's got a 128GB card in there as well. Slightly longer on my fingernail, so just push that in there. So that is what I have got, and it should be all loaded up with games. I wasn't sure last time when I was ordering the RGB30 whether it would come loaded with games, but I found that out after the event, so I figured I may as well order it with that card, because 20 quid for a 120 gig flash card isn't too bad. I might end up, like, obviously I'm not expecting this to be the best quality SD card, and this might perform better if I copy the contents of this onto another card, but we'll see how we go. So before we even go switching it on, like, really first impression, this looks so much nicer than it did in the pictures, and that's a rare thing. Normally the pictures make things look amazing and then you actually have them in hand and they don't. So there's not any kind of texture on the back of it, and that's in keeping with the RGB30. That was completely plain white. That had like the little grip bits on the side there, but this is just flat. There is a slight curve around these bits, and then it's flat, almost reminiscent of the analog pocket in that respect. So I'm surprised at the influence they've drawn from that here, because it's not immediately apparent from the front. The thumbsticks are the same. The buttons, are the buttons exactly the same? I don't know if they are slightly different. There's like a bit more gloss to the A, B, X, Y, and they're slightly more indented. There's a slightly more textured finish to them, so they are different. The D-pad also looks a little different, and I know this came under fire from critics on the reviews for this when it came out, so maybe they've addressed that with some improvements. I love the select and start, and then this little FN function button in the middle making a little smiley face. Speaking of the smiley face, it comes with 2 stickers. So there's like a little tiger face and whatever this is with the little antlers and smiley face there. So whether I was gonna stick them on because they look kind of cute, and it's a bit ridiculous, and I like the ridiculousness of that. But for the moment I will just keep it with the yellow, because that shade of yellow with the black looks really nice. So before we go switching it on, a little bit more investigation. It has a headphone socket, DC and OTG, so that is for connecting your power to charge it. That is for your on-the-go storage or connecting for updates and things like that. So if you're connecting it to a computer, if you've got external files being copied or anything like that, will go on that one. We've got the operating system SD card there. The volume is correct this time. There is a minus lower down and a plus further up. It kind of works. It's the same actually as it was there. I always found it weird on this that the left one was increasing the volume and the right one was decreasing, but when you turn it that way, it fits, doesn't it? It works on this one, so that's good. Nice to see. And on the other side, we've got the power and the R button, which I didn't know what it was last time, and then I found out, and now I've forgotten again. I can't remember what that one is. I'll find out. So that is it. So yeah, let's power it on and take a quick look. So there's a small LED down here. Now, I didn't notice it before, but there is a little circular gap, so the LED will light up there. On the clear models, or translucent models, there's like a clear blue and a clear one, and it seems to light up a large space of it from the pictures I'd seen, whereas with this one, it's just this tiny little space. So it's loading up with Rocknix. So here we are. Speaker on the front, just one speaker it seems on this one, and no other speakers, whereas the RGB30 had one on either side, so it loses the advantage of having the stereo speakers. And for the moment I'll just turn the volume down a little bit. Loads up with Capcom, Play System 1, Play System 2, Play System 3, Commodore 64, Amiga, Pico 8. I discovered Pico 8 through the RGB30 and I adore it. It is wonderful. It's like a Netflix of Square retro style games. You just have to check it out if you've not used it before. It's wonderful. So there's Pico 8, Odyssey 2, Intellivision, MSX, PC Engine, CD-ROM, Super Graphics, Game & Watch, Family Computer, Nintendo Entertainment System, Family Disk System, Game Boy, Super Nintendo Virtual Boy, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Mini, Nintendo DS, 3DO, Atomic Wave, SG-1000, Master System, Genesis, Game Gear, Mega Drive, Sega CDs, 32X, Dreamcast, Naomi, X68000, Sinclair ZX Spectrum, Vectrex, Neo Geo Pocket, Neo Geo Pocket Color, PlayStation, PSP, Scum VM, Easy RPG, Open Board Music Player Tools, Favourites, Amstrad CPC, even MAME, Final Burn Neo, Atari 2600, Atari 800, Atari 5200, Atari ST, Atari 7800, Lynx, WonderSwan, WonderSwan Color, and back to Capcom. That is a lot of systems on this card. So I've not had a delve into what's actually in there yet. Usually it's a bit weird, like if I just go to Game Boy, because this is a very Game Boy console, isn't it? Let's take a look at what's on there. So when you open up the menu, I'm just wondering, like, it seems a little bit dim on the display. So let's try the function button, see if that brings anything up. Nope. Does the start button bring up a menu? Because I'm just wondering how I can increase the brightness of this thing. Game settings, system settings, and brightness at the moment is on 6 out of 10, 7, 8, 9. So I'll just bump that up to 10 so it shows up a bit better on the video. I think comfortably 8 looks like the best option, but hopefully on the video 10 will just pick up a little bit better. Let's go back from there. So how do I go back? I'm back again. So there is a lot of Game Boy games, and each time you choose one, it's all pre-set up with like the box art, the cartridge, the logo, and a screenshot and a little rundown there. It's usually like, it seems to have every Game Boy game you can think of, apart from like some of the main ones like Mario, and I wonder if it's... So yeah, to scan through the list, R1 and L1 will kind of scan through a bit more. I really like these buttons here. They feel really comfortable. Darkwing Duck is on there, so there's a lot of favourites. Let's see if Tetris on there, because that's like the archetypal Game Boy game, and sometimes that's not included on these. Yeah, look, see, we've got Tetris 2, Tetris Attack, Tetris Blast, Tetris Plus, but no Tetris. Weird, I know, but I can always copy those. The thing is, if it's a SD card, you just pop it out, stick it in your computer, copy across whatever games you want, and you can update it that way. So let's see, is Super Mario Land on there? Nope. So they're not on there. So not everything is on there, but I mean, just look, I'm scrolling through here. There are a lot of games, and there were a lot that I weren't expecting to be on there anyway, because for some reason, like, you can't put Tetris on there, but Tetris 2 is okay. I have no idea. This is a little bit shady at the best of times because it's full of all these ROMs being emulated, but still. Super Nintendo, we've got, again, loads and loads of games to play there. And I like having the little setup with the thumbnail and the artwork and everything else, and it's all running very smoothly. Come back out of there. Virtual Boy, Nintendo 64. See, this is good because you've got the analog stick there, but again, has it got the will it actually scroll down? Have I gone up? Have I? Oh, I think I seem to have moved across to there. What am I doing? What are you doing, Joe? So let's have a look. Nintendo 64. It seems to have got stuck in a scroll, which is to do with the stick. If I just nudge the stick there, that's not very promising, is it? Hopefully, I haven't got stick drift from day one. But I think I'll probably end up not using the sticks much at all. But with Nintendo 64, you would be using that quite a bit, and it'll be interesting to see how that actually runs. But again, has it got any of my favourite games on there? So if we got Mario Kart 64, nope. And Super Mario 64, again, probably not on it. So it's a bit weird. It's got like every game ever apart from a lot of the ones that you would want to actually play. Has it got Wave Race 64? Let's have a go on that, because that often gives the consoles a little bit of a workout. So your display in this case, whenever you're playing anything that would be played on a TV, you will end up with like bars across the top and bottom. But the width of it is generally enough, I've found, on the RGB30 for it to be perfectly serviceable and surprisingly big anyway in terms of its display. So a little bit choppy as it's opening, not entirely promising, although I got this for playing Game Boy games, not N64 games. So, but yeah, it is a little bit choppy, so it appears to be not ideal, but we'll have a quick go anyway. There we go, we've got B, the analog control. Yeah, I mean, you know, it works, it's playable, but God, the choppiness on that audio, I'm not a big fan of. But it's not too bad. As I say, I probably won't be playing it much. So how do we get out of that then? So do we press the FN button? How do we get out? Select and start. Ah, there we go, and press again to quit. So that brings you out to the menu, and then we'll go on a Game Boy game instead, because that kind of has the right display. I'm not actually planning on playing that many games on this demo. It's more just to take a quick look, because I haven't got a huge amount of time. And what I would like to do is, I mean, a lot of it is similar to the RGB30 already. I was curious to see what sort of thing was on the SD card that came with it, so I'm going to go and spend a bit more time playing on those. Has it got the Metroid games on this one? I know it's not got like the Mario ones and things, but Game Boy Advance, my go-to is Metroid Fusion, so let's see. It has, so that's me sorted with my favourite game. So yeah, what I wanted to do was take a quick look, have a quick go, get a feel for it, and what I'd like to do in terms of the video itself and the feedback is any questions that you have about this, anything you'd like me to try out on it, anything you want me to comment on. If you want me to have a go at opening it up, we've got 6 screws on the back. I suspect it might be tricky to pop apart, just like the RGB30 was there, but for the moment, before I end up breaking it, I would like to play on it for a bit. I am noticing I'm getting little thumbprints here and here, like the natural point where your thumbs fall into place is here, but I mean, it is a big square screen. There is quite a lot of bezel. So the bezels measure about 5 mil or so, 5 millimeters on the side and at the top. So the actual display itself is considering you've got the plastic as well, the actual display itself is about 7 millimeters from the top of the console. But I mean, the screen on this thing is great. It's the same as the RGB30, and the screen on the RGB30 I was really happy with. So even though this is a widescreen display game and you've got the borders top and bottom, like that's still a pretty big display. So the console itself is fairly big, like size-wise comparison, it is the same as the, it's exactly the same dimensions as the RGB30. I am a huge fan of this, but this seems very, very promising. I love the color. I love the comfort. I hate having little trigger buttons on the back, but my fingers just fit naturally and comfortably on here. I think it's a necessary thing with the square display. I've got my thumbs would automatically go to there, and they need to be here. But you know, I think a little bit of playtime on it, a little bit of testing, and I'll be able to feed back to you on that. I'm also going to try copying across some of the games that aren't there on this card. I might try like a SanDisk SD card. There you go, that's better. I might try a SanDisk SD card instead on there and see if there's a difference in performance on things like Wave Race and things like that. One thing I could do actually is I can switch off, which I assume is a case of if I just press the power button, what happens there? So it goes into a sleep mode if you just press the power button and press again. I don't know what that effect will have on the battery. If I press and hold here, I could power off there. I didn't hold it for long enough, or we might have to kind of go back to the menu and do a shutdown. Let's try pressing and holding there. What's it doing? So I had that held for a few seconds and then it just went off. But was that just sleep mode? no, it wasn't. So press and hold for a shutdown, and that's gone off. One thing I was wondering about was if I take out the SD card that I've got in here and swap it for the one I've got in here, will they be interchangeable? If you've spent ages building up a collection of games on this one, which is on a Lexar 64GB card, and we'll try putting that in here. Which way around did it go? It was that way. And we'll get that in place there. I'm just wondering, will that automatically just work? We'll soon find out, won't we? So yeah, I'll find out a little bit more about the operating system on it. So it's not GelOS anymore. It's what was it, Rock Nix. So I'll find out a little bit more about that. I know that there was some stuff about GelOS, not that, like, the people who, I don't really know much about all this stuff, but the people who make GelOS weren't working with POWKIDDY anymore. So I don't know. The actual interface seems the same as it was on the RGB30. So at the moment, all that seems very, very familiar. Going through the different menus and things, it feels very similar. So I'll just find out a bit more about that. So that loads up, and now this is on my other card. So this is how I had it set up for my RGB30, so all my games and things will be in there. So if I go into Game Boy this time, I don't have all the kind of fancy art with the box packaging and everything else. I just had the screenshots on mine. But if I scroll all the way down, too far, I have indeed got Tetris on here. So, and I've even got my autosave on there as well, so that can load up. And on this card, I set up the settings to on this console, I'd set up the settings to display in that green screen. So this is all of my games, but the settings for the displays and things are on here. So I can play that on here, and unlike my Game Boy, it'll save my high scores. And you can see here how the square display is absolutely perfectly suited to Game Boy games, isn't it? It's just fab. Love it. But I am too tired to cope with level 9 high five today. It has been a long week. But I was so excited to have this turn up, and yeah, it's really cool. So works absolutely fine with my SD card from my RGB30. So if you spent a long time curating what you've got on there, you can do it again here. Let's come out of there and go to, let's see, what should we do? Bit of, well, I'll tell you what, in the comments, let me know what you would like to see me play. I am going to shut it down and swap the SD card back to the original. I'm going to go away and spend a little bit of time playing on it and testing it out and seeing how I get on. But for this video, it's just the unboxing, it's the initial impressions. I have been excited about this coming, and with it in hand, it's actually, I'm more excited than I was before. I actually love the feel of it. The color of the yellow is a really nice deep yellow. The contrast with the black, the quality of the buttons and the D-pad seem improved over the RGB30. The shoulder buttons, the little triggers on the back, are really nice. The ergonomics, the comfort isn't too bad. Obviously, having the buttons further down is just because of the square screen there. So I will be making more videos with this. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see. But for now, I'm going to go and do some playing. So that's it for now, the RGB20SX. Just a quick look at what it does, how it operates. So I will explore a little bit more and then feed back in a bit more depth when I've had a bit more hands-on experience with this thing. But for now, as I say, please ask me in the comments, is there anything you want to know about this? Is there anything you want me to try out? Are there particular games that may or may not run well? Is there a particular detail of how a game runs that you want me to look at? Do you want me to pop it open and see what's inside? Anything you would like me to investigate with this will mean I get to spend more time with it, and to be honest, after the first impressions, I would be more than happy to do that. So yeah, that is where we are at the moment. As always, support me by looking on Z Labs. Unfortunately, they don't sell this, but they sell loads of cool Game Boy modding stuff, and I have an affiliate link at the bottom which will allow you to get discounts, and you'll be supporting my channel. So if you want to support my channel, that's a good way of doing it. Otherwise, you can get this direct from POWKIDDY. I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. So this is the successor or a kind of an alternative to the RGB30. As I say, I was a big fan of that console. I've got a video all about that on my channel already. And to save you the time looking for it, I'm going to link it up here. So when you finish watching this, go and watch that, because this does pretty much all the same stuff as that one does. And it's a cool little console. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.